everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jennifer Elgin. I am the author of 3 fierce lady-led YA fantasy books, and today I'm going to talk about burnout. I went through a period of really long burnout, 6 years, and I'm going to talk about how I got there and what it taught me. So I guess the first thing I'll talk about is how I got into burnout. I mentioned I have 3 YA fantasy series. I wrote my first book, or I published my first book, Threats of Sky and Sea, in 2012, and I would say it did pretty respectably for a series that I, as a book blogger, was just learning about indie publishing and marketing my own books for the first time. But very quickly, when I got into the indie publishing community, I was hearing that publishing quickly and staying on top, keeping Amazon's algorithms happy were going to be the key to my success. And that was a little terrifying for me to hear. I really took my time with my first book. I put a lot of love, a lot of time, a lot of elements that I really loved into it. So hearing that I needed to get the second book in what I envisioned to be a trilogy out quickly was a little scary because I did not have 2 books or 3 books for that matter, just ready to go and ready to rapid release publishing. So what happened next began a cycle which I have now finally broken, but it took going into burnout to do it. I pushed myself to write that next book. I got it out in about a year, and that for me, for the way that I write, was a struggle to do. I'm still really proud of what I put out there, but it was a struggle to do. I'm really proud of the books, but with each release, I just felt this mounting pressure that I needed to do more and I needed to do it faster. And I also needed to learn how to do ads and do those quickly. So I was pouring myself into all these different elements, not refilling my creative well at all, trying to write multiple books in a year, which I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm saying it was not good for me. And then adding on to the titles that I was individually publishing, I started trying to focus on collaborations with other authors. Again, great idea in concept. I signed up to write these novellas that were within a larger world that other authors were creating. So that meant I was given an outline, and I was not quite a ghostwriter because I was credited as an author, but I was writing based on these very specific outlines. That was what finally flamed me out and into full-on burnout, when I was just kind of pushing through what I think had been the beginnings of burnout before that. I am a discovery drafter. I am a pantser. I like discovering the story and gritting my teeth and trying to dive into someone else's outline. While it was a fun story, it didn't emotionally resonate with me, and I was not finding any joy in the process either. And previous to that, in the same year, I decided I wanted to add the USA Today best-selling author title to my name. I could do a whole other video on what that took and if I would do it again. The short answer is I probably wouldn't. But at the time, it was something that I really, really wanted, and I was willing to put in the time and effort to make that happen. When I did that collaborative Kingdom of Fairy Tales project, those novellas, I actually had to drop out before I wrote the last novella I was supposed to write for, and I hit burnout. I hit that wall that hard, and there were some conflating factors. In addition to doing the USA Today bestseller thing, in addition to doing these collaborative projects, in addition to trying to manage my own individual titles, I had gotten engaged in 2019. I got married March 7th, 2020, and then the world shut down about a week later. I got pregnant during COVID, so then I was grappling with all these hormonal changes, and I won't bore you with the details, but all that is to say, I hit burnout, and I hit it really, really hard. And I did not write for 6 years. So now we come up to how I got out of burnout. And the short version is I got very lucky. I saw a TikTok video where someone posted about a different kind of burnout, getting out of a different kind of burnout. I think that they were a graphic artist of some kind. And they rediscovered their artistic process through the artist's way. So I thought, this is worth a try. And I ordered the book, and I completed about 6 weeks of the program. If you're not familiar with The Artist's Way, it is kind of slated. I don't think she uses the term burnout, because I believe this is from like the 90s, before that kind of really entered the vernacular that we use today. But it really is designed for artists to find themselves again. I did a series of, the things that I really stuck with doing were the morning pages. I did them every day for 6 weeks. And she has you take yourself on an artist date once a week. And I did that for 6 weeks straight. And the deeper I got into the program, the more I thought about the stories I'd left unfinished. So I started writing again, and I have some definite mindset changes that have happened now. I was also really fortunate to find myself in online spaces where people now are talking about burnout and how badly hustle culture can affect us. Again, this was not vocabulary that I had or that I saw people talking about in, the late 2010s or 2020. But when I came back to trying to find writing community last year in 2025, thankfully I found myself in spaces where people really were talking about this and talking about how harmful a why is that so hard to say? Hustle culture mindset can really be for us. And I found myself taking a much gentler approach with myself. So now let's get to, what did burnout teach me? What did I learn from it? What do I do differently now? For starters, I don't do word count goals anymore. I am not saying that these are a bad thing to have. If they motivate you, if you don't get down on yourself for days that you don't meet them, that's great. I do get down on myself when I set goals and don't meet them, even if I know that there are extenuating circumstances. So I just have a very loose goal, and that is to write more days than I don't write. I don't write every day. I don't even write every week. Sometimes I'll write a few thousand words or a couple thousand words. Those are higher word count days for me. More often than not, if I'm sitting down, I'm writing 500 words that day, and that's it. Even if I write 200 words a day, I have the mindset that that is more than I was writing in 2023. I was writing 0 words in 2023. What happens over time is those 200 word days, they start to stack up and they lead to finished chapters. I think we hear a lot about writing consistently and making writing a habit. And I'm here to tell you that if it doesn't work for you to do it daily, a habit doesn't have to be a daily habit. Now, having tried to match other people's writing processes, the people who do write every day and the people who are writing 1,000 to 2,000 words every single day, I have accepted that process doesn't need to be my process. I don't have to try and fit someone else's writing process. And if it's working for them, I can celebrate that. I can even still be a little jealous of you outliners and you people that can bang out a rough draft or even a pretty clean draft in a month or two. I love that for you. That's not my life. And aside from just the writing, there's all of I think that traditional published authors experience a lot of this now more than they did when I was a baby book blogger in the 2010s. There's this temptation for all of us to be out there everywhere, all the time, marketing our books. But physically, we only have so many hours in the day. Some of us, yes, we all have 24 hours, but no, we don't. Some of you have like full-time 9-to-5 jobs. Some of us have kids that take up our jobs. One person's hours are not the same as another person's hours. One person's energy levels and mental load is not the same as another person's. So I have accepted I cannot be everywhere all at once all the time. I have started leaning into the things that I like to do and celebrating how often I can do it. I enjoy some YouTube stuff. I'm here. I can't do it. I can't do a vlog every week. Once every other week is kind of what I'm aiming for, but I'm not going to get down on myself if I don't meet that goal. I've been having a lot of fun on Threads, and I like playing around on Canva to design graphics for my book to post to Instagram. So I'm leaning into those places, and Substack and my newsletter. the writing focused places. That's what's fun for me on the marketing end. No shade to anyone that likes to do lip syncing kind of TikTok videos or short vlogs. I hate editing things on my phone. Absolutely hate it. I'm pushing 40. I've got wrist problems. I have all my ergonomic set up at my computer. I want to do as little on my phone as possible. So I don't do a lot of short form video. What I do in short form is stuff that doesn't require a big mental lift from me. And that kind of leads me to, I've decided where I want to invest outsourcing. I hired someone to do a content pull this year, and that has been a great investment to me personally, because it gives me a place that I can pull hooky quotes from my books very quickly and make little short form video and make easy Canva graphics without needing to hunt them down or reread my books for the 100th time to find those. And just like time and energy, everyone's financial situation is different. That to me was worth setting the money aside for to do that. Instead of in the old days, I probably would have just grit my teeth, saved the money, and expended a lot of time and energy to try to do the pull myself. And the last two most important things that I think I learned from having been through burnout, and I'm not suggesting you put yourself into burnout to have this experience, but I really recognize the signs when I'm starting to edge close to it, when my flame is getting low but not burnt out quite yet. I will start to feel tired. I will start to feel frustrated and resentful, and I don't want to touch the story. And I've started to learn that if I have multiple days that I'm feeling that level of frustration with the story, it is time to step away. And I know I'm going to come back to it. It's not a failure for me to step away from a few days. What usually winds up happening is that when I refill my creative well, that's another thing I learned in this time, that the importance of resting and refilling my well. My brain usually continues turning the problem over in the background, and I find it's actually more productive for me to stop working on it so that I can solve the problems with the story, rather than sitting at my desk, staring at this document and obsessing about what's not working and not seeing a way to fix it. So yeah, I think that is about all I have to say on the subject. I wish that I hadn't burnt out for 6 years, but at the same time, it is the experience I did have, and I am grateful for what I've learned from it. I do hope never to be in that place again. But yeah, have you experienced burnout? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you stick around, like, comment, subscribe. If you made it this far, drop me a candle emoji in the comments. Thank you. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.